Hello and welcome back to Shakesyear. We are working on Pericles. We only have like 3 Pericles monologues left and then we're done with it, which is kind of funny because Act 1, Scene 1 had so many monologues in it, and now we're going to get through Act 5 with only 3. So the things that have happened, she was sold into the sex trade but managed to sort of weasel her way out of that, so that now she's like teaching singing and art and music and all sorts of stuff like that in Mytilene. Pericles thinks that she is dead, though, because he had gone to Tarsus and saw the statue that Cleon and Dionysa had built for her when they said that she was dead. So he has gone off sailing again. Again, a storm sort of wipes him off course, and he ends up in Mytilene as well. So Act 5, Scene 1, we are in Mytilene, and I swear this is the kind of scene that Stephen Moffat studied forever and decided that he was going to adopt this as his writing style for all of the things. Because we, the audience, know that Pericles is in mourning and he's wearing the sackcloth and he's very sad and all that sort of thing. But they make a big deal out of, the ship showing up, and there's sailors from Tyre on the ship and there's sailors from Mytilene on the ground, and they're like, who are you and who are you, and blah, blah, blah. And finally the governor shows up and he's like, what's going on this ship? And Helicanus is like, well, we have here the Prince of Tyre, and he hasn't talked to anybody in 3 months, and he's barely eating and all that sort of thing because he's grieving. And Lysimachus is like, well, why is he grieving? And he's like, oh, it's too long of a story. And he's like, no, but really, what's going on? Tell me, because maybe we can help. And he's like, well, the long and the short of it is that his daughter and his wife died. And Lysimachus is like, well, tell us the story. And Helicanus is just about to tell the story. Or no, they're like, well, maybe there's somebody here that can help. There's a woman who talks really well. Maybe she can be of some comfort to him. So let's go get her. So they go to get Marina, and Lysimachus continues with the tell us his story. And Helicanus is just about to tell the story, Pericles' whole history, and they bring in Marina, and she goes and she sings to Pericles, but he doesn't really respond. So then she starts talking to Pericles, and he starts to notice a little bit of a resemblance to his dead wife Tessa, so he starts paying a little bit of attention to her. And finally he's like, what's your name? And she's like, Marina. And he's like, blah! And she's like, what? And he's like, no, like, Marina? And she's like, yeah, my king, or my father was a king, and he named me Marina. And she's like, what? He's like, wait a second, you're the daughter of a king and your name is Marina? Are you kidding me? And she's like, no. And he's like, well, why Marina? And she's like, because I was born at sea. And he's like, what? Like, who? Tell me more about like your mother. What happened to your mother? And she's like, well, my mother died giving birth to me, but I was raised by my nurse, Lycordia. And at this point, Pericles starts to lose it because he's realizing who this is, and he calls for Helicanus to come in, and he starts just bawling his eyes out, and Marina says that she is the daughter of King Pericles, and she doesn't understand why Pericles is now openly weeping. And Helicanus comes in and he's like, are you okay? What's going on? And Pericles says, oh, Helicanus, strike me, honored sir. Give me a gash, put me to present pain, lest this great sea of joy is rushing upon me, or bear the shores of my mortality and drown me with their sweetness. Oh, come hither, thou that begettest him that did thee beget. Thou that wast born at sea, buried at Tarsus, and found at sea again. O Helicanus, down on thy knees, thank the holy gods as loud as thunder threatens us. This is Marina. What was thy mother's name? Tell me, but that for the truth can never be confirmed enough, though doubts did ever sleep. So basically, he's just calling Helicanus in and celebrating the fact that he has found his daughter, that this is Marina, and she's not dead like he thought she was. She was not killed by Cleon. And she's like, yeah, I was raised by Cleon, and my mother's name was Tessa and everything like that. And he's like, I'm Pericles. I'm your dad. And there's this beautiful reunion, and they're so happy to see each other. And Lysimachus is like, great, now she's of noble birth. So I had a crush on her before, and now I can maybe try to marry her. But everybody's really happy, and Pericles starts hearing some music that nobody else can hear. So they're like, get him a pillow, and he lies down and everybody else leaves, as opposed to like him going off to take a nap. He gets to take a nap on stage because it's important that he does, because during his nap on stage, the goddess Diana appears to him and says, you need to go to Ephesus and pray at my temple there and recount your whole story. Because remember, that's where Tessa is. So he wakes up and he's like, Helicanus, come on, like we gotta go. We gotta get to Ephesus. I have to pray at this temple. This is where we go. This is what we're gonna do next. And we're bringing my daughter with me because she's still alive and she's my daughter. And I'm so happy. And Lysimachus, yeah, we can maybe chat later about you guys getting married. And that's the end of Act 5, Scene 1. So tomorrow in Act 5, Scene 2, and then the day after that, we get to wrap this whole play up, and you get to start to see why maybe it's a comedy, even though there's been like rape and pirates and incest and all sorts of other crazy stuff going on in this play. It is starting to wrap up. So yeah, we'll wrap it up in the next couple days, and then we dig into Richard III. That'll be fun. All right, I'll see you tomorrow for more. Mwah.